Hey guys, Mus1cMan here back with another Identity 5 video. In this video I'm going to be reviewing some of my viewers' gameplay and try to give some tips and tricks to them so that they can improve in their gameplay. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so the first game I'm going to be reviewing here is one of a geisha. I do not personally play geisha very much, however, I've seen a lot of top tier geisha gameplay, so I think that I could give some decent tips to playing her. So a couple of key things to keep in mind when you're playing a geisha is to be careful about trying to chase around too many pallets, as well as keeping in mind like who you're chasing, as well as your very short hitbox. Geisha has one of the shortest, if not the shortest, hitbox in the game, which makes juking survivors really difficult. You end up coming across the dock here, which is really lucky here given the team comp. The dock would be your #1 priority target anyways. So now you're chasing the dock here, and if I were the doctor here, I probably would have tried looping around the other way, just trying to because geisha's #1 weakness is tight kiting, and a really good survivor would be able to get lots of pallet stuns on a geisha before they're able to get a hit here. So if I were this perfumer, I would wrap around that tree. However, you end up getting, I don't even know what happened there. My feed kind of lagged out a little bit there, but you end up getting a really nice terror shock there. And the prospector's coming for the save as well. Now, a good thing to keep in mind here is that at this point, being that there are 3 survivors there, there's only 1 survivor decoding, which gives you a lot of leeway. So at this point, I would have personally continued chasing the dock because the dock is dead on chair, and that will waste a lot of it wastes a lot of time when you're camping, and when you have to switch to camping another survivor. That gives you a whole other 60 or so seconds that you have to camp at the chair that you could be using otherwise. So I would have continued going after the dock, especially because the doctor can self-heal and undo all the damage he did against them. If I were this team, I would send the priestess to the save. I would not send the doctor to the save because the doctor is dead on chair. Being that the doctor's dead on chair, you want the doctor to stay as far away from the hunter as possible at all times. So at this point, the priestess is attempting a save here, ends up getting it, and now at this point, you know that the perfumer is dead on chair. So I would be chasing the perfumer right now. So yep, now at this point, I would try to swing, bait the perfume. Nice job. That was good work. And you end up getting a nice good hit there. Even if you did get pallet stun, it doesn't matter because you ended up getting the hit in. So a lot of times when a survivor gets down, with this team comp, you'd have to deal with the annoying prospector sometimes. Although at this point, I'm just kind of wondering who's decoding right now, because everybody seemed like they were sticking around trying to rescue and stuff. And while that might make the single rescue easy, you're not making any progress in the game whatsoever. But you end up coming across the dock here. Now, you let the dock go once. I would not let that happen again. The dock is dead on chair, so you want to keep chasing her, especially since you have 4 ciphers remaining with 1 eliminated. That gives you a whole lot of leeway there. That's some good patience by the dock, good patience. But now you just got to keep chasing her is what it comes down to, and it looks like you're keeping that mindset pretty well too. So if I was this doctor here, I would keep on trying to transition to better pallets and tight kite, but if I were her, I probably would have tried looping back around instead of trying to get to this area. I would have tried to loop around there, and I probably never would have left Ruins in the first place, since Ruins is one of the most survivor biased areas of the map. She kind of moved to a worse area when she transitioned. 3 ciphers remaining, 2 eliminated. You're in extremely good shape. This is almost a guaranteed win there. And at that point, I probably would have waited till you started falling before attempting a swing there, because at that point, what you can do is you can take a swing, and if you end up swinging before you hit the ground, you don't take any hit recovery there. Now, this is a bad pallet here that the prospector is trying to tight kite around. Now at this point, I would start going to those pallets that are in front of him, but he ends up trying to loop around there and juking, which was, I think, pretty bad decision, because once he got to that area, he had nothing to work with. He had to rely on juking. So at this point, what I do is I take the chair and then I'd camp here, especially because if it's ranked, the 4-man isn't super important. So what I would do is I would do the thing like you've probably seen tons of geishas do before, is like go to that chair and then do your secondary flying ability where you can go up really high to get a better vantage point. So what you can actually do is, for those of you that don't know, if you are camping as a geisha, one of the most popular strategies is to use your secondary ability to get up high, and then on your way down, if you swing and end up hitting the survivor, you'll actually take no hit recovery. So at this point, yeah, I would be careful about the gate, but also I probably wouldn't have stopped camping the chair, because that chair is what secures you the win. By leaving the chair, you gave the priestess a chance that if they were going to that area, they would be able to rescue. And at this point, the priestess has crows, so you know where she's at now, and she's in a pretty terrible area given where the dungeon is at. She has to get like through you without getting hit once. So now you're just kind of hunting for the priestess there. You thought that she went down a different portal, but you can see by the crows that she's still up there. So now, yeah, the priestess is wasting a whole lot of portals here. I think what she's planning on doing is trying to stall until detention runs out, but what she's doing is a whole lot of wasting of portals. So now I would have probably tried teleporting through that pallet, but it ends up working for you in the end. So yeah, thanks for sending in the gameplay. Now the next match I'm going to be reviewing is of a Wu-Chang. So Wu-Chang is a character that I play relatively frequently. I mostly use him on larger maps, such as Lakeside's a good map for Wu-Chang. This map, Ever Sleeping, is a pretty good map for Wu-Chang. Just because he's got like those teleports, he excels where a lot of hunters struggle, which is the mobility aspect on those maps. So, for instance, like Feaster and Bonbon struggle a bit with these maps because of the relatively low mobility that they have. But at this point, the perfumer kind of ended up wasting their perfume at the beginning. You ended up baiting really nicely. But the perfumer is kind of useless after the first perfume is gone, because What makes her so powerful is her ability to undo damage. And if she can't do that, then the ability is not super helpful. Now at this point, especially since you're Black Wu-Chang, I would just camp out at this chair. Now, even though your tinnitus isn't coming off, I would still be camping the chair. Now you chose to teleport there. I mean, it was a choice. However, I still would have stayed at the chair, especially because you're Black Wu-Chang, and Black Wu-Chang is actually really, really good at camping. Now you ended up overshooting the chair a little bit there, but not so far that I give you a hard time about it. Now, when you're camping as a Wu-Chang, as White Wu-Chang, don't do the charge attack, because if they end up trying to go around the chair, just because your hitbox is so big, you've got a high chance of them being able to juke you, and you'll end up hitting the chair there, just because the charge attack is such a huge hitbox. But at this point, you can kind of try the perfumer here. The perfumer's dead on chair. And if I were the forward, I would have been sticking around to try to get a stunning, to try to extend the perfumer's life more. But he kind of made a decision to try to leave first. So now your tinnitus is going off, so you end up seeing them over there. And at this point, I would have chased the acrobat. Don't waste time on the forward. Don't waste time on the forward. Just because the forwards has both his football, which is barely used, and he's got really good base stats, I would just leave him right now. Yep, good job, good job. You used your teleport there. Now, teleport is working out for you right now, but against other survivors, using teleport will be more and more difficult, just because a lot of survivors will know how to kite, especially in early game Wu-Chang, since that's where Wu-Chang kind of struggles the most, I would say. Now, let's see, there's a pesky forward here. No charge. I would have expected the forward to try to charge there, but yeah. So as far as like the traits go for Wu-Chang, I would recommend, especially for relatively more beginning Wu-Changs, I would recommend either. I would probably recommend Peeper, since what he struggles with most is Cypher Rush. Now why is what? Okay, the acrobat just kind of gave up, which doesn't really make sense because there's 2 ciphers remaining, but nice stun by the forward. There wasn't a whole lot you could do there, but yeah, so I would use Peeper there on Wu-Chang. Only teleport in like the really, really large maps, like Moonlit, if you choose to play Wu-Chang on Moonlit, if you're really confident with your abilities. I personally find Peeper to be stronger when I play Wu-Chang. I've heard of some people getting away with Blink, although Peeper's just generally come to be the better option just because of that really, really hefty cooldown that Blink has. And that was kind of a waste of a bell there. So what I would use the bell for is I would use it to either try to interrupt a rescue or to assist in a chase, but I don't just kind of throw the bell there just to give the survivors a hard time. Now you end up chasing the Mind's Eye here. Now you know that there's a pesky forward down there at full health. So I would continue trying to chase and try to get 1 hit off of them. But if not, I wouldn't worry too much, since the first time he attacked you, or he charge attacked you, then he didn't pose too much of an issue, especially because it's really difficult for a forward to navigate these stairs really consistently. But yeah, so you're going ahead and sharing the mind's eye. I believe that the tide for the other characters are out, and if I were these survivors here, I would start needing up to heal up, especially because unless if the Cypher machine is nearly primed. If the Cypher machine is nearly primed, then I would have sent one person to the save, because at this point of the game, pretty much everybody should be using borrow time, especially with this team comp. But borrowed time is a must for any survivor here. So yeah, the acrobat should have only attempted a rescue if there was a Cypher prime there, but being that you just chased the forward, it was pretty clear that that wasn't the case. But at this point, you can just camp this chair for the rest of the time. And if a Cypher does get popped, then you can just teleport right over to wherever it's at. Yeah, you end up seeing the forward there. I have no idea how you knew it was over there, but maybe you saw him in the distance. My feed is a little bit grainy, so you might have saw something that I can't. But yeah, I would say that if you didn't see the forward in the distance, I would have just face camped the chair, because it doesn't matter if he's not able to pull a save, whether he gets dungeon or not. I don't really worry so much about the last survivor. I worry more about the last Cypher and camping. And yeah, overall you did a very, very nice job. And there's just a couple of small things that I suggested throughout. I would say maybe try out using Peeper and see if that helps to slow down the Cypher rush, since that's a really big struggle in the high tiers. But yeah, thanks for sending in the gameplay. Now the third match I'm going to be reviewing today is of another Mus1cMan. So at this point, I would give the same recommendation: walk to one Cypher and then umbrella to another. Use the secondary umbrella. Don't use the one that teleports immediately, because you want to check out if someone's at a Cypher before you teleport there. Black Mus1cMan is really good for chase. So if you do end up needing to switch, go ahead and do that. But at this point, the other survivors are decoding, and those two survivors should not be decoding together, because if you end up coming across there, that's two survivors not decoding that one. So you end up seeing the seer there, which is a pretty good first target here. Now at this point, I would continue going after the seer. You don't want to place, you don't want to chase priestess here. Small boat is a really good survivor map, especially for priestess. The two places you don't want to chase a priestess in this map are big boat and small boat. You end up working with this pretty well. This priestess should be going to the back there and then use... Okay, if I was this priestess, I would have used one of my portals to try to get to that ramp back there. And yeah, you can just kind of pick her up, because there's not really many issues with that, because you don't have pesky characters like a forward or a cowboy there to mess up ballooning a survivor and taking him to the chair. At this point, the mercenary, the mercenary should be coming to the save. Good job. You double hit the rescuer. That's a smart plan. And that was a pretty useless portal by the priestess. Didn't buy her a whole lot of time. And this priestess should have kept moving there. Now, for those of you that don't know the Mus1cMan spell, it's not, it doesn't go according to your the way your screen is adjusted, but it actually goes to the character, so you can use that to your advantage to help you aim the bell. So like, for instance, if your camera's aimed forward but your character is aimed 90 degrees sideways, the bell will go 90 degrees sideways as well. I would keep a closer eye on this chair here. Let's see. You end up getting a hit on the seer here. Good job, good job. That's what I'm talking about. You use that to your advantage. Now this priestess is having a tendency to stop running in the middle of kites, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. Maybe she's lagging out or something, but this priestess should be trying to keeping on running or tight kiting or doing something the whole time instead of just pausing in the middle of a kite. But you have 1 survivor eliminated, 4 ciphers remaining, which is which you're doing really good right now. So you see nobody's at that cipher, and it's really tough to find where survivors are healing. So what I like to do is sometimes I like to stop and look around, see what ciphers are wiggling. I do that quite a bit now. I would break this connection. Yep, that can sometimes be a pest if you're in the middle of a chase. Alright. Now, you didn't really have to do the umbrella there. You could have just switched right away, and sometimes that helps you because it allows you to I would charge attack you. Yep. Because sometimes it allows you to switch a little bit faster. And if you're able to switch faster, that gives you a better chance that your soul siphon would have hit the prisoner. And that was a pretty delayed hit there, but overall you're doing pretty good. Let's see, I'm not sure what trait you have right now. I think it's peepers, but if you have peepers, then I would be placing them all around at ciphers instead of taking so much time against this prisoner here. Let's see, so this chase is lasting pretty long, so if a chase ends up lasting too long, he's already kited you for 2 ciphers, I would probably say try to move on to another survivor, maybe hope that you find the seer. But at this point, if you can't get this, okay, especially at the last cipher, disrupting the last cipher is far more important than chasing. At this point, yeah, you can be concerned about camping the survivor, but my personal #1 priority would be delaying that last cipher, especially because you know that it's really close to being done. Yeah, that cipher is really close there, so I would have left survivor a lot earlier to try to go to that cipher. And that's why it's always nice to look around for those wiggling ciphers. Now at this point, oh man, that's unfortunate. Oh, there's your persona there. That's pretty good. You could also justify going up instead of right. Sometimes that works out. Not exactly sure how that teleport helped you at all, but the prisoner ends up juking you, and that was kind of unfortunate that he appeared on the other side of the chair, but now you don't really have to worry about that last cipher there because the prisoner's downed. The seer just got up, but I'm not too concerned about that. Oh yeah, I just saw you have peepers there. I would have placed peepers a lot earlier. a lot earlier in the game, I would have placed peepers. Like whenever you walk by a cipher, just lay one down. It stalls a whole lot of time against survivors, especially if you find a survivor that you don't want to chase. At this point, what I would do is I would switch to teleport, because what I'd want to do is I just want to patrol the 2 ciphers because I'd be really concerned about getting a win here. I'd also be keeping an eye out on my tinnitus, but at this point, you're really, really close to having another teleport. So, yep, I would teleport to the other side of the map. Look around here, you aren't able to find anybody, and then I just straight up dash to the other gate as fast as I can. But I'd also switch to teleport just so that I get as much mobility as I can, because especially if you're stuck in a scenario like this where they're kind of stuck in the middle and you don't know what gate they're going to be going for, I would be most concerned about mobility. And especially since I know that you brought trump card, that gives you a lot more opportunity to maximize your mobility as much as you can. So at this point, you can choose to down the mercenary, but the mercenary should still have a few more elbow pads. So being that this is ranked, I don't personally care so much about getting the 4-man, but ooh, yeah, you still have peepers there. So at that point, I would have placed a peeper on the seer to try to stall out his healing if getting the 4-man is really what you want to do. Now at this point, you could just kind of follow the Mert. You know that the seer is already self-healed. So now that happens, you already have the win. So once the mercenary is down, you can just take him to the chair, and that's a win. But yeah, overall, thanks for sending the gameplay. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And there are instructions in the description of how you can send in gameplay so you can get a video like this in the future if you want some feedback on your gameplay. So yeah, thanks for watching.